Meeting in 1967 in San Francisco, California, Eldridge Cleaver would have his first run-in with the Black Panther Party while they were doing the security detail for Betty Shabazz, the widow of the late and great Malcolm X. By his own admission, he was captivated by the sight of fully armed Black Panthers in black leather jackets with black berets holding down Sister Betty Shabazz. Around the same time, Cleaver, along with Ed Bullins and a few others, would establish the cultural and political center in San Francisco, the Black House, which Huey Newton and Bobby Seale were often used for Black Panther Party meetings. These meetings would tighten the ties between Eldridge Cleaver and the Black Panther Party. Cleaver, who held somewhat of prestige as a writer, became a desirable ally for the Panthers. That same year, in 1967, while speaking at a conference in Nashville, Tennessee, he would meet one of the conference organizers by the name of Kathleen Neal. The two would immediately begin a romantic relationship. Kathleen Neal was born May 13, 1945. Her mother, Pearl Jewett Neal, held a master's degree in mathematics, and her father, Ernest Eugene Neal, was a sociology professor and later the director of the Rural Life Council of Tuskegee Institute in Alabama, where he moved the family into a segregated middle-class community. Later, her father would be selected to join the United States Foreign Service, whose officers are appointed by the president. So her father had to be appointed by the President of the United States for his position. Check. All right now. As a state foreign service officer, one of the major duties is to carry out the foreign policy of the United States while also abiding United States citizens abroad. The position caused him to move his family overseas, living in such countries as India, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and the Philippines. So this was an international chick at a young age. Spending time in India exposed Kathleen to different beliefs, including socialism, communism, and nationalism. The family returned to the United States after her brother had died from leukemia. Back in the States, she attended George School, a boarding school not far from Philadelphia, where in 1963 she graduated with honors, then going on to Oberlin University. In 1966, she transferred to the all-women's Barnard College. She left college for a secretarial job with the New York office of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, also known as SNCC, after a friend from childhood, Sammy Young, had been murdered by white supremacists. So basically, her father was a foreign affairs government op, whose position was handpicked by the United States president. She was raised between segregated communities, overseas, and boarding school, went to college, then dropped out to join the Black Power struggle after her friend was murdered by white supremacists. And now she's hooking up with a convicted rapist. Let's continue. Kathleen joined the Black Panther Party, which happened to be just a few weeks after Huey was arrested for the murder of Officer John Fry, which kicked off the Free Huey movement, which both Eldridge and Kathleen were heavily involved in. With Huey locked up, Eldridge's influence began to increase. As the editor of the Black Panther Party, they sold 250,000 papers under Eldridge's watch. Basically, while this guy's in jail for rape and attempted murder, he's able to appeal to a civil rights attorney, Beverly Axelrod, who then introduces him to the founder and the publisher of Rampart magazine, Edward Michael Keaton Sr., who then Sr. is able to help Cleaver obtain parole and then hire him as a writer for his magazine, as well as getting his first book published. And all this was a year after he got out of jail, within a year. Not to mention becoming the Minister of Information with the Black Panther Party. How does that sound to you? All this after being released from prison within a year, which now brings us to that fateful night in April of 1968, when Cleaver led at least a dozen Black Panthers a suicide ambush of the Oakland police, which led to a 90-minute shootout between the police and the Black Panthers. According to reports by Cleaver, after the ambush, they fled into a home of two elderly women. After being held up in the home, police then shot tear gas into the house, prompting Cleaver to surrender, but not before stripping down naked, rationalizing that the police will not shoot him if they see he's clearly unarmed. Cleaver claims he advised Bobby Hutton to do the same. He stated Hutton didn't want to take off his pants and only took off his shirt, and while surrendering with his hands up, was shot 12 times by police officers, where he was killed on the scene. Eldridge was taken into custody and charged with attempted murder of police officers and aggravated assault. Cleaver, who was still on parole, was given no bail, sent back to prison with his parole immediately revoked. However, in a strange turn of events, Judge Raymond Sherwin of the Solano County Superior Court later ordered his release, ruling that the parole revocation was an unconstitutional attempt to silence Cleaver for his undue eloquence in pursuing political goals rather than for failing personal rehabilitation. Cleaver was then granted a $50,000 bail for attempted murder on a police officer and was shortly bailed out. But in November of '68, after a higher court overturned Judge Sherwin's ruling and ordered him back to prison, Cleaver jumped bail, fled the country to avoid reincarceration. In 1971, tensions between Eldridge Cleaver and Huey Newton, who recently had his manslaughter conviction overturned and was now free from prison, began to rise. With Huey Newton wanting to focus on social and survival programs, and Eldridge Cleaver felt the need to take on armed struggle. Eventually, the tensions would come to a head, and on February 26, 1971, during a live broadcast of KGO-TV's AM show in San Francisco, while Huey Newton was in the studio for an interview intended to show the party's unity, Eldridge Cleaver called in via long-distance telephone hookup from Algiers. But instead of showing unity, Cleaver used the moment to criticize the leadership of the Black Panther Party, demanding for the immediate expulsion of David Hilliard, as well as the reinstatement of the recently expelled Panther 21 out of New York, and also that Huey Newton had become too much of a reformist.
I just want to comment on the expulsion of the New York 21 because it looks to us as though, as a result of the actions taken by David Hilliard over a long period of time, the party is falling apart this season.
Okay, fine. Good to talk to you. Thanks very much.
After the program, Huey, who was fuming and embarrassed, immediately called back to the program.
Yeah, you got the bombshell this morning. Well, very embarrassing for me. So I'm warning you now, or notifying you, that the Eric Mule section, you hear?
Yeah?
The Eric Mule section is expelled.
That's not the best way to deal with that.
Well, this is the way I want to deal with it.
Well, then I think you're a bad man too, brother.
But I'm not a coward like you, brother, because you run off and get little Bobby Hutton killed. But I stay here and face the guys, you see? So you're a coward and you're a punk.
After Huey announced the expulsion of the international chapter, which was ran by Eldridge Cleaver.
To be disciplined, and my recommendation is to discipline Eldridge Cleaver, not for the criticism itself, but the way in which it was presented.
The split became a permanent splinter amongst the Black Panther Party. Those who sided with Huey focused more on survival programs like the Free Breakfast Program, and those who sided with Cleaver were more focused on armed struggle to gain liberation. And although